An overview of child passenger safety for maternal-child health nurses. This presentation is brought to you by the Maryland Institute for Emergency Medical Services Systems, and it was produced with grant funding from the Maryland Highway Safety Office. I'm Suzanne Ogaitis-Jones, and I coordinate the Child Passenger Safety and Occupant Protection Healthcare Project at MIMS. Our other speaker is Julie Sejak, who is a clinical nurse manager at University of Maryland Upper Chesapeake Health. The goals of this presentation are to teach the importance of child safety seats and how they protect kids in motor vehicle crashes, to state Maryland's child passenger safety laws, to talk about the legal liability limits of what nurses can do in child passenger safety, to talk about the essentials of what they need to know to help parents in the hospital with their newborn, to teach key messages, and to share referral resources. I'd like to thank the folks at MarylandEMS Medical Center with this presentation. So why is child passenger safety important? This article from the Washington Post in 2019 talks about a horrible crash that occurred in Prince George's County. So motor vehicle crashes continue to be a leading cause of unintentional injury and death for children, even though the numbers are down a lot over what they used to be. So that is good that the numbers are down, but it still continues to impact way too many children. What are some of the actual numbers? Well, in 2021, 711 child occupants under age 13 died in traffic crashes. And on average in the US, every 30 seconds, a child is involved in a motor vehicle crash, and 2 kids a day are killed while in cars. And then about 14% of children are injured. And looking at those who are injured, about 90,000 children went to the emergency department and 6,000 were hospitalized. What else do we know about this problem? Well, where restraint use is known in the crash, about a third of the children who were killed were completely unrestrained in the vehicle, so not in car seats or seatbelts. The proportion of those killed who are not restrained increases with each age group. Black and Hispanic children have a higher proportion of unrestrained child deaths compared with white children. And studies show misuse rates of child safety seats between 75 or 73 and 90%. Looking at the data in Maryland, and this is looking at the problem in children and adults, we see a similar pattern. A significant proportion of those who are killed in crashes are not restrained. So we have a video now to talk about the 3 stages of a collision.
When one vehicle collides with another vehicle or object, the damages go far beyond bent metal and broken headlights. There are actually 3 stages of a typical collision. Each stage is unique and occurs quickly. The higher the speed, the more severe the outcome. The vehicle itself is the first to take the impact of a collision. Coming to an abrupt stop, the vehicle buckles and bends. This all happens in about 1/10 of a second. Following the vehicle crash is the human crash. The occupants hit some part of the vehicle, hopefully the safety belt and airbags. If the occupants are not wearing safety belts, they will continue traveling at the same speed as the vehicle was traveling, slamming into the dashboard, windshield, or some other part of the vehicle's interior. They may even collide with other passengers. When the occupant's body has come to an apparent stop, the internal organs are still moving, hitting other organs or bones in the body. This internal crash, though silent and not visible to the naked eye, can cause fatal injuries. Statistically, it's highly likely that you will be involved in several collisions during your lifetime. If you're lucky, the only damage sustained will be to your vehicle. Remember, a preventable collision is a collision in which the driver fails to do everything reasonable to avoid it.
Okay, just a summary of what that video was about. There really are 3 collisions in every crash: the vehicle hitting something to slow it down or stop it, the human crash, that would be people hitting things hitting the car inside, hitting other humans, the contact with their seatbelt or their airbag, and the internal crash, which would be organs in their body moving around so much that they can be injured, for instance, the brain hitting the skull. Children in crashes are more vulnerable to injury because they have a larger, heavier head, a higher center of gravity. They have soft skull bones. Their hip bones are rounded, which when you're looking at a little bit older of kids, their lap belts don't stay over their hip bones because of their rounded hip bones. They also have weak neck and abdominal muscles. There are safety features in cars that can hurt a child. For instance, airbags, particularly frontal airbags to children who are sitting in the front, especially if they are in rear-facing car seats. In that scenario, they are likely to be killed or suffer permanent spinal cord damage if the car's airbag deploys and hits right behind their car seat. So those children need to be in the back. Loose, unused seatbelts can hurt children. They've been known to wrap them around their head and strangle. Also, seatbelts worn by children who should be in car seats because they're too small. So the solution to motor vehicle crashes, the deaths and injuries, are to use child safety seats, or for older kids to be in seatbelts, older kids and adults to be in seatbelts. Child safety seats prevent injury by spreading the crash forces out, concentrating the forces on the strongest part of the child's body, allowing the child to ride down the crash, providing protection for the child's head, neck, and spinal column, and keeping the child from being ejected or for colliding with things in the car. So let's change gear a little bit and talk about Maryland's child passenger safety law. And we had an update to this law in October of 2022. Maryland's law requires that every child under age 8 must ride in an appropriate child safety seat or booster seat, and that children under 2 years old must ride rear-facing in the car. There are exemptions for each parts of this law, but these really would affect hardly any children. Really very, very tall or large children might meet this exemption, but we know that there are usually products that can work just fine for these kids. So really, this should not be an exemption for hardly anyone. This law is a minimum. There are lots of things that we recommend parents do, but one would be to max out every stage of car seat use. Maryland's occupant protection laws continue for children, basically requiring children ages 8 through 16 to be secured in either a car seat or a seatbelt in every seating position. So what can or should nurses do in their jobs regarding car seats? Well, nurses can educate parents on reading their car seat manuals and labels and help them look online for resources. They can help them with harnessing, and we'll go into that in just a moment. And they can and should refer them elsewhere for installation help. Unless they have a child passenger safety technician within their hospital, they should be referring them outside. So currently certified child passenger safety technicians are the ones that are going to help parents install their seats. But even their job is to instruct the parents, not to do it for them. And what are the parent caregivers' responsibilities? Well, their job is to obtain an appropriate car seat, bring it into the hospital prior to discharge or prior to the car seat tolerance screen occurring for their baby. And they should be installing the seat in the vehicle. Now, ideally, they should do that. They should practice installing the seat in their car before they go to the hospital for the birth of the baby. And so, there's no new learning going on after discharge. We know that doesn't always happen. Healthcare providers should never provide guidance or assistance if you're unsure of best practices. For any questions, always refer to a child passenger safety technician. So now I'm going to turn it over to Julie, and she's going to talk about car seat use and harnessing.
Hi. So the next step is selecting the appropriate car seat. Rear-facing car seats are what you will mostly see for your children that are going to have car seat challenges. These car seats are for children from birth until they reach that maximum harness weight for that rear-facing position. So these children will be riding rear-facing for at least 2 years. Their heads and necks are best protected in this position. So your caregiver may bring into the hospital either an infant carrier, which is a rear-facing only car seat, or a convertible car seat. And you may also see a combination seat. These seats rear face and forward face, but your convertible car seat remains a harnessed seat. I would ask the parents to bring in the car seat as soon as possible for those babies that might be discharged from the full-term nursery, and for NICU babies, maybe 2 or 3 days prior to discharge. You can tell the parents that they just need to bring in the carrier, that they don't need to bring the base in. All infant carriers have a level indicator right on the labels on the sides, so you don't need the base to get that proper recline. You want to make sure that you read the labels on this side of the car seat. Is it the appropriate car seat for the baby's height and weight? The labels are very clearly marked as to what size baby should be in the car seat. So for instance, this car seat is for babies who weigh between 4 and 30 pounds and who are under 30 inches tall. Children will outgrow these infant carriers by height long before they outgrow them by weight. So when their head gets within an inch of the top of the carrier, it's time for a new car seat. Convertible car seats will fit forward facing or rear facing. So they will have 2 stickers indicating forward facing size and rear facing size. So for this car seat, babies can rear face from 5 pounds to 40 pounds, and then forward face starting at 20 pounds and up to 65 pounds. Again, the child will outgrow that car seat when their head gets within an inch of the top of the car seat. Car seats will also have labels underneath of them that tell you when the car seat was manufactured and what the name of the car seat is and what their model number is. And on a convertible car seat, it's usually on the side or maybe on the back. Next is adjusting the car seat to fit the child. Parents should be encouraged to have read their owner's manual so that they know how to adjust the harness for their car seat. So we want to make adjustments to the car seat so that the car seat fits the child. We're looking at the harness height relative to the child's shoulders, the harness length. Is the crotch strap in the proper position and at the right length? Is the harness width at the hips appropriate? And do we need inserts to achieve the appropriate fit? Putting the child in the car seat. Children's height and weight must be appropriate for that car seat, and we talked about checking those labels. Children's bottoms should be all the way to the back, and the infant must be reclined properly so that their head is maintained back so they can keep their airway open. Older children may sit up a little bit more, but those young ones need to be reclined back. And there are either labels or indicators on every seat that tells you where that recline is. We need to be sure that all the appropriate inserts are present. Some car seats have just 1 or 2 simple little inserts, and others have fancier inserts, maybe foam inserts that go underneath the padding that support smaller babies. So it is very important for parents to have checked their owner's manual to be sure that they have the appropriate inserts for the size of their infant. If the inserts are not present, parents can reach out to the manufacturer of the car seat and have them purchased again. When a child is rear facing in the car seat, the straps or webbing need to come out of the car seat shell at or just below the child's shoulder. For forward-facing children, you want the straps to come out of the shell of this car seat at or just above the child's shoulder. Here's an example of a little person with her harness straps coming out of the shell at the appropriate place. Moving the harness straps to fit the baby. So each car seat may be a little bit different. And so again, we need to refer to the owner's manual for how to adjust the car seat's harness straps. Some car seats have harness straps that we rethread, and other car seats have adjusters that move up and down. You want to be sure that the webbing comes through the fabric of the cushion as well as the car seat shell in the same slot. So for smaller infants, your car seat may have options for different loops to attach the webbing to the splitter plate. So we want to be sure that we have the loops attached to the splitter plate appropriately for baby's size. This is an example of a no-thread harness seat. So this car seat, you would not have to move the straps through the slots in the back, but there's going to be some sort of adjuster to move the headrest up and down, which will ultimately bring the webbing up and down. So we want the webbing to be at the baby's shoulder or just below the baby's shoulder. So you want to slide it into that locked position. This is an example of a no-thread convertible car seat. And again, you will pull the tab at the top and slide the headrest up and down to adjust where the shoulders and the webbing come together. Changing the crotch buckle position. So some car seats have this option to move the crotch buckle closer to the baby. This allows for a tighter fit and less likely that the baby will slump down in the seat. You don't want more than about 4 inches between baby's diaper and the crotch strap. So you will move the crotch strap to the position that's closest to the baby to narrow down that space. Some crotch straps can be sort of doubled back on themselves to shorten them for small babies. Again, this is something that you would have to check the owner's manual for to see if you could shorten down that buckle strap a little bit more and keep it a little closer to the baby. A few seats on the market allow you to adjust the hip straps in and out for baby as they grow. Some require you to move them to the inner position for small baby, and some are optional, and some don't have this adjustment at all. Again, this is a time that you would have to check the owner's manual. The example here is an Even Flow Light Max, which is a car seat that's available for 3-pound babies. So this may be something we would see in the NICU. Once baby is in the car seat and the harness is adjusted to the position, you want to be sure to buckle the baby's crotch strap and harness clip. The harness clip should ultimately be at the baby's armpits. Remember, it's a 5-point restraint. 2 bony hips, 2 bony shoulders, and the sternum. That's where we want this webbing to come in contact with the baby. Once you have baby snapped in, tighten the harness, and we don't want to be able to pinch any additional webbing at the shoulders. So putting baby into the car seat. You want to be sure that baby's bottom is all the way to the back of the car seat and that they're sitting up nice and straight along the angle of the car seat back. Baby goes into the car seat in just their outfit. No bulking clothing, no snowsuits, no buntings in the winter. This is an example of a baby too slumped down and not sitting up tall enough in her seat. Here's an example of, is it too loose? So if we can pinch at the collarbone, then we are too loose. We need to tighten that harness a little bit tighter. You should still be able to slide your fingers underneath the harness plate, but your fingers should slide off the webbing and not be able to pinch it. And there's our little people all nice and snug in their car seats. Remember that the harness clip is parallel with their armpits. And a thin jacket is okay, but nothing thick and bulky. You want to make sure that the harness is snugly holding the baby into the car seat, especially for tiny babies in their car seats. You want to be sure to check and make sure that everything is snug and not too tight. And you may find that if there are harness strap covers, that they will need to come off if allowed by the manufacturer in the car and for tiny babies, because it may push those shoulder straps down too far on their shoulders. Also, be sure to check if baby's chin looks like it's falling to their chest, if the head pillow could be actually removed. Again, look in the owner's manual to see. That may allow the baby's head to tip back and keep their airway opened. In some rare cases, you may find that you can put some rolled up blankets on either side of the baby to give a little extra support when they are in the car seat, as well as a crotch strap roll if there's too much distance between the crotch strap and baby's diaper area. Again, you would have to check your owner's manual to be sure that it's okay to do that. There are a few cases where it is not okay.
And this is Suzanne. I'm going to add here that with new safe sleep guidelines, we recommend that these, if you can add these rolled up blankets alongside, do not put them up alongside the infant's face, because should the baby turn the face into the blanket, that might cause some breathing problems. So they would have to stay down, like at shoulder height or lower.
And not recommended up around the head at all. Again, to remember that baby can outgrow their car seat when their head becomes within an inch of the top of that car seat. So in summary, the best way to help your infant breathe properly anytime they're in the car seat, you want to make sure that the child is positioned properly, that their back is flat, their back is flat against the seat back. The child's bottom is at the lowest part of the seat and all the way to the back, and bending at the hips and not at the waist. The child's head is not tipped forward, so none of that chin to chest thing, and that the recline is according to the manufacturer's indicators, so either a line on the side or a bubble indicator. Remove the head pillows if there is one, if that is an option. Reminder of the role of the staff. Our job is to educate caregivers on the basic message of car seat safety and to assist them in these adjustments. Is the child in the appropriate seat? So is it the right size for the baby? Child is properly harnessed in the seat, so they're snug in the seat. Caregivers need to correctly install the car seat in their vehicle. And we document services provided or declined by the caregiver.
Thank you, Julie. So let me say a few words about where caregivers can get help with installing their car seat in their vehicles. As I mentioned before, they really should be looking at their car seat manual that comes with the car seat, or they could look online for the manual. There's also videos online. Many of the manufacturers have made videos to show people how to use their specific car seat. And they can be quite helpful, particularly for families who might have some trouble with English. They also can contact a child passenger safety technician to get help. And in Maryland, the best way to find a child passenger safety technician is to go to Maryland Kids and Safety Seats. So this is really who you should be referring people to. And their email is listed here and their phone. Do not tell them to go to a fire station or police station. There may or may not be a technician at those locations. And if there is one, they may not be available. So the best thing to do would be to refer them to KISS. And KISS has virtual appointments. They have in-person appointments. They can answer detailed questions over the phone. So that is the best resource. For anyone who is not a Maryland resident, they can go to cert.safekids.org. click on Find a Tech to find some help in their area. So now we have a little misuse exercise, and I'm going to show some photos of actual babies in car seats, and you're going to figure out what is not ideal based on the picture. So for the first picture, and if you need more time, just pause the video. So this child has the car seat harness straps coming out of the car seat from above his shoulders. They have to be at his shoulders or below his shoulders, so they would need to be moved down to a lower slot to keep him safe in the car. Also, there's no chest clip here with this car seat, and that could be because it's too low and you can't see it in the picture. It could be missing. Maybe they didn't put it back on when they washed the seat, or it could be a European car seat that isn't required to use a chest clip. Second picture. In this case, there are some shoulder pads that are very cute, but they've been added in. They did not come with a car seat. The manufacturer does not want you to add in anything that they didn't approve. And problems with this could be that it's causing too much tightness around the baby's neck, possibly blocking the breathing. Also, they could be pushing the chest clip down too low so that it's in the wrong place. Number 3. With this baby, a blanket roll was added around his head, and this is not approved by the manufacturer. And the particular reason why you don't want to do this ever is because if this baby should tilt his head forward slightly, that's going to fall behind his head and push it forward even more, which is likely to block his airway. And number 4. There are a couple things going on here. The shoulder straps are coming out of the car seat above his shoulders instead of at or below his shoulders. The straps are way too loose all throughout the length there. The child has some added blankets around him, which is not necessary, and most manufacturers do not want you to do that. They prohibit that. If the child were strapped in securely, there'd be no need for that. It's not clear whether the head roll needs to be removed or not. Possibly, it's hard to tell in this picture. And there's some toys added to the car seat, which we don't recommend because they could move around and hit the child in a crash. So hopefully you got all of those right. So now the baby and the parents are all ready for discharge. So as a side note, if you work in a special care nursery, I highly recommend that you also watch this video, Getting Babies Ready for Discharge, the Car Seat Tolerance Screen. It's presented by Dr. Natalie Davis, who is a neonatologist at the University of Maryland School of Medicine, and she's also the leading researcher on this test throughout the country. Here is the YouTube address for it, and you can also access it through our website. If at any time you have any questions about child passenger safety, don't hesitate to contact me. I'd love to talk to you and try to help you out. Here's my email address and my phone number. Thank you so much for listening, and stay safe.